ewo UTV so na wo hwe medin e de ekua asanteba mensa Dixon enne ye nkomo twetwe no efa bigamy anase ya disua eba be bigamy eye obi a ye me se waware ewo court aware no bi na sebio wasan aware foforo aka ho betimi ayoba ebetimi ayebe ma menim lawyer ewa ha ene obeba be cheche ni na amayate ase ekroma ye hye amanfo wo nsema wo mo pese wo mo bisa wo mo eti ase enti na ene ye disa adwumedie ebremu midin again e de ekwa ekwajen kwato ye ba na ye de dwumedie na to aso enkombra ewo UTV so me da se we fidie no eda so eda hat se na mekan ne ya disuade no anase ye nkyerɛkyerɛ no efa bigamy eye aware dodo ehwanya aware dodo nyina but ye wo lawyer wa ha ono ankasa ebe kyerɛkyerɛ mu ama ye hu nia ema bigamy kra no eba lawyer eye Oxford osai bonsu say me say why very familiar with lawyer otaba and say me more dey na ye otani e be kan na me lawyer
sabe penalty
akwaba
yeah me do
bigamy ye ka say bigamy a
you know me da se dedi kan no ye nchia ahwefo nyina na ye ma obia na de bedi kan aka no ye ka say bigamy a criminal offense them say ye di kan aka ha da say ye ka say criminal offense yes say your offense ya chro Ghana mremu say boni na afi so no emra no ankasa astity and as I prescribe punishment for it inti me ya abosira mukambia wa ha ye komranim the mrane kanenti there are two phases of the offense because ye obi a waware da no kwa akware obi a waware da ani ye obi a waware a osa akware
sai bosu bi
mesa bosu bi nti be wo kan ye say watifu e be kan boni a ana say crime a be committee e waware mu no ana e be ka ho asem enti de misi kanu no ye obi a waware ye a we single man ana say single woman ana nka o pese okoware ana okoware obi a waware it's the person akoware no a single person and oko ani jemu na ware dey say ani jemu mo mani dodo
ye ni je ye pese etwe ba
mo ni dodo di bo ko hono ono no oko no ono no ho asem ba ko ana de waware oye ware 40 ware mu no ono so ana waba be ware obi a ware da. And you will describe how the law no talk about these two people. And then first of all, law no ankasa I can't bigamy no oka ho asem section 263 of the Criminal Offences Act 29. And also aka ho asem section 264. Mefa first one was section 264. Netiro oka was say a person who being unmarried goes through a ceremony of marriage, whether in Ghana or elsewhere. So, or say whether in Ghana or elsewhere, with another person whom that person knows to be married to another person commits misdemeanor, whether the other party to the ceremony does or does not have the guilty knowledge as to be convicted by bigamy.
Oh yeah, well last sentence. So whether the person has the knowledge or not.
Whether the other party to the ceremony does or does not have the guilty knowledge.
What does that mean?
Okay.
And a lawyer brought for.
And you there, and then I'll explain it to you. In fact, because I said, very sensitive, and I made sure that I brought other books that we can refer to. And the first of all, somebody can say, Obi warida. Now say, or go through any form of marriage ceremony with another person or warida. Either say happy or Ghana, and I say, baby, say any panel or commit bigamy. Now, the other part no can say whether the other party to the ceremony no does or does not have the guilty knowledge. So here, what the law is trying to say is that the only time you can have a defense to bigamy, and you say, I did not know that this person was married to another person. So knowledge of the previous marriage, as a paramount. So it says that the knowledge, I'm more guilty. And so you are guilty of the knowledge. You become awesome. And the name per se be free jump no. Name per se can to her book ye kutamia or define it. So the essential elements and the only essential element now no about the defenses and nobody can say defense and back say and then the knowledge very very important say defense back on say oh I didn't know you were married. Now what about you who had the first marriage and say what's your defense? My defense is that I have not heard from my wife for the past 7 years. 7 years. A man home pro because the 7 years no want a wife on canon. Want in camp because when you say after 7 years on it's a principle in law a defense. In law no ubia wanting in camp sa continuous. And so I know after I test back will be taken up for you. So wanting in camp for 7 years a man who say any packronis will. And it can happen, say, be after 7 years, so now I want to cast well, worry, I was mini Nigeria for some time. So I'm at it. Oh, I see you do. I could be able to see you. You be say, I me, a wood that I was Ghana and I was so cushion. Nigeria, I'm quite no Michelle. No, so what I say, that is the point. After 7 years, well, and there was a case like that. Wanting to Kruninka. And no quarry. In fact, in between 6 to 7 years in Pono quarry. After that, Anna Nukruni by, and the law said that he was not guilty of bigamy. Inti, one may jump you, Ekoba will come back.
Oh, home. Jump here, Baba back.
Baba back. Inti, that is that. Inti, for the explanation of say your knowledge. On say we've mentioned here say every crime, the act and then the intent. Or the mind no ukra no the bear side no. Until we are talking about say and this intention is knowledge. You should know. You should have a knowledge that any power will worry and I won't worry. And I will worry no so no. Worry that no. And I make an so bit make some yere maintaining ka.
Inti lawyer semete wasia natural say me na me ye sebe single no. A me be wow no. Me so met me like bonnie to me Eddie bombing and then near or no worry no kwana your friend is saying a bit me a banner say or no why boneno boneno can it am starting free honor okay because and from a minute now be church the bigamy more say worry for no now una bonnet because 77 so we need okra no and I be pay me and I'm a pencil. Inti adenti na wo me nso so me I say me fom
emra no se say ananya no na what I say emra no I say me ka de emra no ko me buy na best ate na me kan ya na me kan e bia ba gina ba bia kasa lawyer woni emra de ba to ka finitri me say emra no na guda manim no act 29 and I make an say me wi a me ma obukwa explaining what the law says for the education. It's not the upper classroom. It's not the full classes that may do for me. And we'll come back to a person who is married, how the law describes that person. But what worry and what will be cool, I can't want them. When I'm starting from you. And now I won't worry what will be. You know, no, so offense now, dear Bower. May I go out of be can it do a save? So, marriage to the topic and subtitle was a marriage to a person previously married to na akwa ware obi a ware da no ware aware mu to say a person being unmarried would encourage a single man and a single woman and I won't worry da and I won't be ako share ware makoye marriage ceremony na remember na you dey say here no oka in our Marriages Act and also no lawyer about the act aba Marriages Act no oka 3 types of marriages or say Muhammadan marriage, customary marriage, and then we have part 3 marriage, which is ordinance. So the purposes of our audience is to use ordinance marriage because ordinance by law cry a kick, but we will use it for the understanding of our listeners. In the Muhammadan marriage, customary marriage, and then ordinance marriage. Or say wo winim so obi aware now when you go under any of these marriages here then pa no kwa aware dia oba committee bigamy section 264 now my man nyo the say financial customary marriage na that is subsequent marriage no mokum no customary marriage and mokum now was saying some marriage no ebia akan customary marriage wo and ye wo ga and ye wo fantasy and ye wo ewe na dagati for customary marriage it lasts for only 15 minutes so that is the one I want to use as example as I am a lawyer I am using dagati marriage. It lasts for only 15 minutes. Now,
when you say it lasts for only 15 minutes, is it
the ceremony na nkasa take place only 15 minutes. Na ya wari ni nyina ewie.
Wow.
Enti no, enye sa wari hu bi na waka say no na me koye na obi ehu ye na people na me committee bigamy. If you unim say obi aware ana na go under that 15 minutes marriage no wa committee bigamy. Now under 15 minutes no we only present nantwi kese baako nantwi kitwa baako sidie carries now they are more na kan o kan ni nyina o kan ni body part ni ti baako na so mienu no mienu akankan ni nyina bom na kire say the man is now entitled to oba no and the body part ni nyina that marriage ceremony that got marriage ceremony no it lasted for 15 minutes so wo worry obi aware by any kind of marriage. Now call for 15 minutes. You've committed bigamy.
Lawyer, I am interested. You just said something. Say, what worry by any kind of marriage? Nasa wo call for sir. Ye did dagati for the example. Yeah, what committed bigamy? Meaning say inherently no. These are the 3 types of marriages. When you become marriages, what had anti? Meaning say masha for any that anti. Yen we see time go. But oko Muhammadan marriage, you know, inherently polygamous. So ye customary marriage. Sa netie. Inti se me koye traditional customary and not traditional. And I say Muhammadan marriage. Na se me sign ko ware. Our example, what's my committee bigamy? I don't get it.
So that is the point. I mean, that's a good question. So the point I'm making here, once you are married to ordinance marriage. So what I say, you are married to ordinance marriage, which is monogamous. Then, if you come back and marry any of these marriages, Muhammadan customary, and then the ordinance, another ordinance, you commit the bigamy. So the baseline is a marriage that is ordinance.
Under the ordinance.
Monogamous marriage, which that is sealed. And any other marriages form it now gives you the opportunity. And I say it commits you to bigamy.
You have 2 questions.
Okay.
Mawari under any of these marriages, which is outside of the ordinance marriage, which is the Muhammadan marriage, and I say customary marriage, you know. Then so me kwako ware for biem no. Man can't let nipa na me na ware first no. Is that a crime?
Mo worry there.
Ya worry any ordinance marriage.
Any ordinance marriage.
Ya Muhammadan nibi ana so ya customary marriage. but me sa kware me hu obi foforo ne ho ye mefe be ma kentinka anasa oba bia che say abayo fefefe me pesa me kware sa nipa no.
That's a very good question.
Kan kire ni amene ne wo ho no dada no.
So
does that constitute?
So it is. That's the point. The point is that you need a consent. So, for instance, customary marriage, which is actually a marriage by polygamy, so you can marry more than one person. Even that, you need a consent from the person, either the woman or the, what do you call it?
The man.
The man.
No, I'm farmer me.
Very good. So one farmer, we are not committing bigamy because bigamy as is prescribed, so we can go under other forms of crime. Say, ebia, obetimaka say it was forced marriage, and I say because a marriage that doesn't come with consent, inti obetimi akanisa, inti. But then because uka say opportunity to marry more, no, then you say oh sorry I now worry. You need to have an agreement. Say me baba worry. Na me be worry we are. It's say me a type of marriage I me do be community customary marriage. No, me timi worry other women. No, me worry obi fufo. Until every given time be worry bia no. Unhia say obi kwa akwaji consent. Until sense say customary marriage. No, even if you don't commit bigamy as a stated crime, no, there's a way the custom will punish you. So what I say.
Now, for the say, I feel so. Me ma obi beka say sa aware ahodo nyina no Ghana ha yemra no egitum yemra no eje ordinance marriage tum eno sanje customary marriage tum eno sanje Mohammedan marriage etum. Fine, time na me ware no me ko ware under the ordinance no oba we pen na me pen no, but say me tuba ma call Islam mo emreya kwara so catch I have the right and the freedom to what to associate and to any religion be me to me me person e ko be me person me dey me dom and me join it na say ma me tuba ya ma say me ye Muslim me shia Muslim girl nice be afi me person me worry ono so ka ho adentina mean to me enko worry e bi enka ho. So first na me a Christian and as first na e bia obi be say me yetime muni a e bia na me person me ko under the ordinance na my ordinance say no ma kodom esom foforo no nso so e ma me kwan say metumi ye den e worry bebre it and say na amasa be hye esom foforo na se no mean to me en worry bi ewo sa som na se.
Okay, on say bibia ne ho hihye ene ho amane ne amamre ene ho mra enti ya kan say even po ne ka customary marriage na every custom has its tradition. It say the way amusi omo man custom de ho but ehun no ma no the way amusi no different ana me ka dagat is church show no ana mabeka make my can santi de acho na maka akan you asante for the fantifo de brofo ediewum. So and there were different forms of marriages within the customary forms of marriage no I can. But say ukowari ordinance the marriage by the law. And no man for any more. So bon to ukowari kwa still no day nyankopon e kwa because nyankopon e sha ware. But it's answer wo under law no. The first the Bible can ho no and just say by biblical marriage. You call it Christian marriage per se, but yes, then anyway. The bottom line is the law that is the ground no. And no and the kura no. Your law no inti na meka no ukoware na under Marriages Act any. Until you can't do otherwise. You can't do anything outside what the Marriages Act says. Now this is the point. So what were ordinance? Now a Muslim who be so tuba say out because faso yes a bicycle some faso is all better say who kosia enti mfaso a ma ye kɔ kramosum ne sɛ betuma ware bebre eno kra no akra no mso mu 17 18 ne fe ne ate no e de na ma enti wo kwa sɛ ujai Christosum na kwa esan sɛ woyɛ Christo ni nanche ba ware ne ye ordinance ni ntim say we dissolve that marriage no asa na wakɔ enti sɛ okɔ na upokɔ te dani bidia this we dissolve first marriage nti wohwɛ this act no marriage act no one friend no marriage by ordinance so or say or friend no in your friend part 3 nti marriage by the law no part 3 no one was a Christian and other marriages nti Christian marriage no description about and other marriage say because the marriage is going under the law and to be first marriage you have to go through a divorce process. That is the dissolution of the marriage no and no na me find say me person me cramoni na ma ware na me person me cramoni na me person me guno ana me share divorce na se what I say me share sa na anko wi ti enwe ya any other processes that thrive on the processing no I avoid.
No, people can say intent. Let me say yet one na ubeka wa has say ye bibia ye hwe adwene mu po. Enti se ebia me ne wa worry. We say yes what start the process no. But process no we start once I was start no at least my chere se me wa adwene mu po se me pese me yeden mi jai anase mi gu ade no. Na so so ebia bibi nti entumi ankohwie payo. Isn't the fact say ma demonstrate aside say bia madam adwene mu po ade a kire wo say me pese me gu ade no anase me pese me jai ade no na ebia ankohwie paye but me ne ye nso a madam edi no e kire say ebia ade no anamo na me no nam no me pese me tu biem ebia e wo say bia me besrasraw me nsraw ebi kwa ifie kwa yetimu no me tu efifie no mu akwakotena baabi and I mean so me bomb me bra won so bo bra me nitua say bo bra me so me we nitua say me bomb but the proceedings now wo can into me ankosi isn't that enough reason for us to say if anything our enegu
enough reason to say our enegu fatu trim
and I need defense
fatu trim any defense for anything fatu trim obi ha ntimi ngwa ware a ordinance marriage no and I say part 3 marriage no marriage act no obi ha ntimi ngo no just a court
okay
fatu trim obi ha ntimi ngwa ware a under law this law this a court pay in the kun na court say there's only one reason obet imagine so do agu ware one okay okay matrimonial causes act act 367 okay section 1 part 1 section 1 or say divorce petition for divorce a petition for divorce may be presented to the court by either party to the marriage. A petition for divorce may be presented to the court by either party to the marriage. What should I say? A year at the stre and I say petition and I say kwanya ubusa say opeso gu area no a year bema to medical court or by to medical court. Now court was the sole ground for granting to into my guys a court to penny goose area no to also Korea the sole SOLE the sole ground for granting a petition for divorce shall be that the marriage has broken down beyond reconciliation. And the sole ground, when you were so quiet, person say, "I was ready there." Atete apansa. And how do you go court to? Now court to say, now that's I was ready to apansa. My actually say, okay, then we have proof of breakdown of marriage. Proof 1, that the respondent has committed adultery. And that by reason of the adultery, the petitioner finds it intolerable to live with the respondent. petition say what about Jamai? Open mapa. No one ma wo sa enti esense no time cry. Enti no sent no mintimi ene be ma no ntina mintimi kwa bia no metimi be ma na tran. Enti that is fact. Or because when you say the marriage has broken down, this is fact. Then another fact is saying that the respondent has behaved a way that the petition cannot reasonably be expected to live with the respondent. Enti we no and what be say bia or papa na sum no pa na sum no obono na wo mani ti achia. Enti we say eno no nti no ontimi. Enti when you come to court, you have to advance evidence to that effect. Say oh we hope to be kra no oba wo no wafun achia and say oba wo sum no oko hospital and doctor examine you ko x-ray ni ade ni nyina evidence na de aba. And I say, why jammy hoko? Why jammy hoko? Maybe it's a woman and or that is another reason to come to court. It's a fact. By the sole ground in there. And it's our and 2% over church the court to move the office our arena. I break it down without reconciliation. That is another thing you have to put in your head. It says that breakdown is beyond reconciliation. Reconciliation means that say court kasa mukra munko fie nko sisi empa enti one e ba court anim na court timi di say adewe ye de ayi kakra kokano a ebeso a awari na emu no. And you see why your process can never be valid for any other thing unless the court has given you the grant. And waka do have factors in bebre
me ntwa wan no lawyer na yen facts okay ma court me ekwaya meti he ma court me wo say e man say ye mu bia etume de ko me de akọ ensem ya wa listi saa na ma twetwere e wo me petition ni mo say say wo nchen bebre wo so awetu kwa court na be me sai ta akọ ehu wa abonte say oni oba bi na me pese aware ni egu no court nye mu asem ni wieye na nso so wetu anamon no wo so awutu sa anamon no e bia na bibinti na wo ne hobiem yentumi ngina so nka say because of Mr. T petition no me di petition ekoto court enim court engu na enwie de but once amede aba no e was say yen complete ma awarigu no your friend say endimu.
Okay, nti so they can on say
can the spirit of the letter into the spirit of the divorce petition.
We spirit ni baby we as the law is as a letter of the law. What I say and so beautiful when say judge ne po and egu aware no
to bia
ntimi nya ho hwe obeka wan asem nyina cha judge ne meka say aware mu twantro egu na enye na men come ko see bigamy because one of the defense obetimi I refute bigamy say judgment of the court say aware na egu this is a grant by the court say aware na egu into me charge me for bigamy.
Okay,
that's
you hold your thought. Yankwaje nkwato ba eyem brand say wo UTV so na wo hwe bigamy ehun nsem na ye discuss yankwaje nkwato ba na yato aso the UTV na wo hwe na ye nkomo twetwe na say addition no efa bigamy hu na say ye kona lawyer kase sebe say one of the defenses of the bigamy case near say wako court na winya divorce your friend certificate no e say no nipa no untumi in charge no bigamy no yes anko ye chibiem say wo ka single to married single or no akọ ware obi a waware ho na ye hwe obi a ono nso aware no ono nso kofa obi a or single person ne
section 263 or say a person commit bigamy who knowing that a marriage subsists or candidate also knowing say a marriage subsists between that person or no and another person goes through the ceremony of marriage whether in Ghana or elsewhere with any other person commit bigamy and a person shall not be convicted. So these are the defenses no but the first one no can was say whoop the panel wonim so waware na marriage no subsist just say wo e konkon ho ye wasate process me gunu mingu no matro a petition me be gunu that me do wa court e bi kwa ma court be 5 times e wo process to dissolve the marriage no enwu ya onya kware obi foforo ka ho a commit bigamy
lawyer me san bisa aware fine aware ye gunu ye nyengunu ana ba kwa petition say ye gunu ye nyengunu na yentematete obi ye ta friend separation ya separate for a number of years we are living in individual lives yeah sometimes we to me so I can say oh on paper we are still married but ye na ye leading individual lives sa aware no ye wo dance ye wo ho say enkofo we fine e bia na o ma worry ba kokwa expressing the intent say o pese o ja worry na nso so no one month together to say worry for one month nya worry for niema em say ye nyina krampo ni enim say e bi class ankofo ye o mo da so kwa e worry because ye share one lifestyle and abra na one bona obia live separate lives ye bet to me ye to me nka say saa de ninti ene emre dodo a etwemu aba besin ninti aware ne gu ana
untimi nkasa because say oka separation a mechanism it me fa no be me nsa ye wo aware a ya ware na ebia ye ware no ye ntena fa ko inti say we petition one of the facts no say obecheche mu say bia matna ha montna ha ana say esan say mo nyam ko tna ha ntna ana say mo ntna mo mu nti ko ntna mo fi say aware no enya ho akono ne mba papa eno wo ana ye wo separation aye eho ne ho mo amon ka say mo decide say mo separate aye ho ne ho ene we wo ha o tena we wo ha no abekanya mu kakra he pa nwa bia na menim no ono timi tu kwan a se woni oba no nkasa omuka bomu ano ma wo ba ejo amo de sa ngomo wo 10 so eno sa separation nye separation papa nti untimi nyina so emfa anya hwe second ebigwa mo amohwe aware na igu but enyan intimo si okay ways to put ourselves together and be man nko tena ha kakra oba no tena kakra ne yen hwe de besi enu ntira wade jaye na se aware na gunu no ana ba konso ne se wonti oba ne kakra ana maka ne se no na ye defense no se man ti wonka nti obi betuma ka se oh ya separate for 15 years what I say 15 years but Mrano says I maintain wonka for 7 years cry no a good ground to say what cry to meet my separation for 15 years no and yes I meet London na me ma wo ho na da ko me wo ho a be transfer be 2 years me my friend Kojo Bonsu na me no ne bana kasa because no ba ne nkasa na muni din koma how is school no aka we how is mommy mommy is around okay no eja ho you can't use it as say lack of knowledge of the existence of the marriage or the existence of your wife. Okay. The wife is there. Okay. Unkasa no 15 years old. Okay. Okay. But unim so ho because ma on nchen. Enti say unkasa no ho kra na e ma no te. I don't know so te bia wote, I bia a footballer. Enti bo ball or park so hu. Aha. It is a me single man or a single woman. Me fa ka say oh wo say o kra wonti o yere nka 15 years no o ni footballer na e ko twin plan o nya say obi kra yenim no nti no wonim say waware footballer o mo ware o mo e de ba TV so
nti say ya te ase say ordinance marriage no dey apart from court no obi biara ni ho a obetumi egu no se me akra ma sorry say e bia me the petition kwa court no se court no engu ye enwie pe ya engu ye ya te ase se ma memra e bia me abayo a me single se me kofa first one no a ma be ware no e bia na me nim say nipa na me be ware no wa ware e bia o ka kire me say oba we na ma ware no me ne wo ma me ensa nti me nim say aware no sebi da so demu na me wa one me so atena na ma wo me so me invest in him me na ye japade nkaka me ne nye japade po asa me te ne nchen ya me so mo ne se me ma na somdwe e ma ne to be de ye ne opese we den oye oyere ba ko no ho ne so ansori amba me ka hwe e bi ko be ka bibia bedwemu obi enim wa ba me ka hwe na ebedu baby no oyere dada na san sorry abase me baba beje maware a oba na ye de se edi ni no oye single no owo akwanya bi ewo mrane mu.
Okay, that's a good point. Enti ane aka no say wo no I offense no npa me no committee.
Yes.
The waware no committee and a single person also a committee. Now the explanation of it no ewa it was first of all no I say any panel should have knowledge. That is the men's real. I say any panel knowledge. And when we are looking at the defenses, no, you have knowledge against I don't have knowledge. And for instance, no, say ABR. Okay, say in grad 6 years, 7 years, me who that the prosecution will come with evidence to prove say we not winning between the 7-year period. So that's it. And the affair no say a rebuttable presumption. The presumption that the person is dead. That's one. Now the case law or say any more with him, especially the single person. Any more with him. It doesn't matter whether the person even asks the question, say, why worry that, and answer, worry that. The law wants to establish that the person had knowledge. And it's all about knowing. Because it means why in the idea I'm running crying and approaching for mobile channel because we do what the Ghana ha. And then crew Abby and for hospital or Ghana. No, no, what Nabuchi. Or quite no catch or ban no cushion say. Me worry that me nim the way it's temple. No one in a worry Obano on winim where Musemu. And yet, because we say a crowd of Busamana, what was anywhere information. The law says that the opportunity, let me read it. It says that the essential thing, however, is that the prosecution must prove actual knowledge. The knowledge and it should be actual. Meaning. And you implied it's supposed to be actual. And it says that the fact that the accused failed to make inquiry about the absentee's powers is no evidence of guilty knowledge. And it is a kobase ebia owa musa odonti odode mani pagimi o o tete sa nti wa musa kra se wa ware pen. Ultimately, if I know you now, so can say or actual knowledge, but the person has to perceive, not perceive, to have the knowledge. Say any panel, worry.
So, in the situation where I do not know that you are married, and I have married you, we could have gone under any of these offenses, marriage. Does that make my marriage to you void? Emma aware na me nimo me nim sa wo aware ma wo de unim sa wo aware ena me ma ba be ware o me wan trehwe ya ma me hu sa wo aware da se me so me ne wa aya aware edimu e mekọ efimu aba emma me ma ware na me ne wo aware no it does make it voidable. And I say void, lawyer for motem no, which is
void. Your void no. What's the name? Say me ba no. Ba me what ba me ba but na say what. Does it make me ma warrior no say enimu? Ana so say me so ma warrior no say e be gina o de na wa warrior that I'm side by side just because I didn't have knowledge. Okay. So our warrior no. So we are looking at the validity of the marriage and then again the commission of crime. So the marriage will be void.
But
Nti eno de crime no na won commit but our end enyina because you can't put emremu say you can't put something on nothing. Our end no utimi ayaware e ba ko pe asi utimi fa bibia nhyem ma ne nyi I saw the BBC to Krum na cat I point. What do you mean if you mean? To hear somebody or come I say. What kind of number I didn't have or say. For the purpose of proof of the first marriage, the prosecution must advance and on Maka. Was a person cannot be convicted of bigamy if the first marriage is void. That is what I'm saying. You cannot commit if the first marriage is void. Into but
yes.
But we know our wire. Unim Namameka Adebako and her house say a marriage by reputation or concubinage, however long it has subsisted between the parties, is not sufficient.
See, any lawyer may remedy anything.
Wow, call
me. I'm some nim. And I wire me eye. And I wire what could you me one day? And I'm assuming what's now my show me pepper ukromunacha say. Suma masum
wasum.
Hey.
I'm running there. I can't say me doing that.
But say no. Then I'll be a patami. Then I'll no a patami crack.
Emrano ni bibiano ka in street sense. Because oh, say me can say me ba ho. Say me can say be ma no. Worry no only we need defense bia.
Only action no ya.
Only there entina the crime is another way a bit my punish no say you charging for bigamous marriage a bit. Now you can come under different laws. So what I say because you know you've immune yourself say now we until you can come under another different form. Say a beer, any panel, a dada. So, and you can charge a person for whatever or better. Then you say a beer or what is a ba a customary marriage. There will be other customary remedies. I remember. Say, ultimately, and your favor. Ultimately, her friend. When my father back and can see maybe next time no pie bet my car expanded from that part. The point is that say who are we innocent no? Oh, you can create a defense for yourself. And finally say bia wo anana uko ware bema. And na unim se bema no ware wa musam. And emrana can say umusam ma unim hwe. Ana bema no se wa ware nso te baabi. Bema no kunu wa ware te baabi. Na yire wo baabi. Ana waba na sebe bema na eskani wo sika pa na waye japade wono wa transekura wo be se 10 because ba sika de ho na empe enti wo musi dan ba ko bia na wo ba ko musi dan ba ko bia na wo ba ko because onim se bibi to na bema na wu a japade ni nyina na ye de e ba wo side ana akoba se bema no ewu ti here no esanse wo aware no enimu no nti no se bema ni wo ese aponchirani nso wu a na ehu ni tententi afi na oba na oje aware ase papa pa no afi no waba nti oba enoma mienu ne besi oba na waba no e de ne nkrata e be kire se na wote aware ase asowarefo no ye ware wo ordinance eno nko ana afi nso no traditionally no ankasa no oba no ba be ye yie ye fe no kunu aye na afi wo de asete se ampa me na me ye warefo because the secret is that se be man ye easy for everybody.
Okay.
I know there.
Lawyer, me trawano ye mrano ye besan ato asonti wo de enko enjame. Ye mrano se sen e wo UTV so e na wo hwe say ye nko motwetwe no e fa bigamy ho na misua de me sure say won so usua de ye de besi ha na ya to aso next week na say next week mo make it time na mo hwe show no na emu ayede na misua de me sure say won so ayede wo sua de me ne lawyer Oxford Osebunsu e na esua de twetwe nko mo me din de ekuwa asante ba mensa na se de besi che bia bye bye.